Freakonomics and Super Freakonomics by Levitt and Dubner. These books got some attention as well as they run a blog. They used to have an article, like a repeating article in a paper. I can't remember which paper. Stephen Levitt is an economist. He works out of the University of Chicago, which has a huge and famous economics department. Freakonomics, let's have a look at the sides here. This one is a bit faded, being on my shelf a while. This is the first one, Freakonomics, and then it was very, very successful, and so then they came out with the second one. Super interesting books. I found the first one to be even more interesting than the second one, and it may be that it was so new, such a new idea. Using economic principles, they look at all kinds of things, phenomena, social phenomena and economic phenomena that you wouldn't think you would be able to find an answer to, but they are able to look at the numbers and come up with some, if not answers, at least pretty good theories. Here's the side of the book itself. And by way of explaining what I mean, let's have a look at some of the chapters. So, what do school teachers and sumo wrestlers have in common? All right, well, that's pretty vague here. They're being vague. But what they're talking about here is cheating. And how do school teachers cheat in a way that their students get better scores? Because in certain places, if the teachers' students do better on standardized tests, then the teachers look better. It occurs to me now, I kind of remember that these are all kind of vague, cute titles. So how is the KKK like a group of real estate agents? Why do drug dealers still live with their moms? I mean, the underlying question here is, if drug dealers make so much money, why are they so poor? If they're, we think of drug dealers making lots of money, go deal drugs, make a lot of money, why are they still living with their moms then? And we find that low-level drug dealers don't make that much money. In the parent section, but within that they have lots of different articles about different pieces that sort of still fit under that. So under the parent, for an example of this one, of this one here, you see, what a Roshonda by any other name smell as sweet. The question is, do these names like Roshonda, does a name like that hold you back when you try to apply for work? And then what's interesting is not just, you shouldn't read the book if you just want the findings to those questions. That's not the point. You can look up, you can just say, hey, what did they find? You read the book to find out how did they get the answers to those questions? What did they look at? What were how do you start on something like that? And where do you get the numbers? And that's what's really interesting. At least to me, that's what's so interesting, is they can say, oh, well, as it happened in this state, they made a new law that did this. And so as soon as that came into effect, it was different from the state next door, even though along the border, maybe everyone was pretty much the same culturally, but suddenly this state had to do things this way. And then we can look at what that, how that results. Anyway, I found it really they're both interesting. I found the first one super interesting. Maybe if I'd read the second one first, then my viewpoint would be different. Anyway, it's still valid stuff. It's still interesting, even if their conclusions aren't true. The way they go about finding them are really fascinating. Okay, that's Freakonomics and Super Freakonomics by the Stephen Levitt and Stephen Dubner.